Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Radio. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Hey everyone, welcome inside our Newhouse studios here for Newhouse Afternoon. Riley Underwood and Nicholas Whaley with you here for the next hour on ESPN Radio Syracuse. Lots to get to, especially on the transfer portal front. Opened 2 nights ago at midnight. Already lots of movement, even in the last couple hours. You know, we've already had so much to think about, lots to talk about, not just additions for Syracuse, but lots of subtractions as well, rumored additions / subtractions as well. You know, it's pretty chaotic. I mean, what stuck out to you over the last 48 hours, Riley?
Well, I think that we haven't heard anything from Sadiq White. I think that's pretty telling so far, because it seems like everyone so far has just jumped into the portal right when it started, but he's not said anything about it. And in fact, he posted an Instagram story which with a telling song saying, "Oh, I'm home" or something.
Yeah, but he deleted everything from his socials. Like, I don't know. Is he into double bluff? Maybe.
I don't like that game. I don't like the social media game. I think it's kind of a dumb one to play. But it's interesting that he has not put his name in the portal yet. He and Kai and Anthony are the only 2 returners right now still on the roster. So if you were to return anyone, those are 2 pretty good players.
Absolutely. I think we also, in the last 2 hours, Tasman Goodrick has committed to Syracuse, averaged about 10 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 9 last season for
Siena.
For Siena, excuse me. Was at Cal Baptist and it was at Gannon, a D2 school. Before that, he's originally from Australia. For whatever reason, Syracuse basketball programs are obsessed with Australians, so which is good.
One out, one in, because Luke Fennell
out of the door. Maybe we'll see an addition on the women's side as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But you know, I think we're seeing lots of good movement as well. I like that things are becoming fresh. Of course, the headliner is Gavin Doty so far, but that was practically a guarantee, I think, from the moment the portal opened.
I think Gavin Doty is a huge get for Jerry McNamara and Syracuse, and I think it was expected that would happen, but for him to get his best player from Siena, a guy who averaged 18 points a game, led that team to almost upset Duke, led him to the conference tournament. This guy's a big-time player. He's going to enter his junior year, 6'5", big guard. I think that he's going to be a really good addition and hopefully stretch the floor with his shooting ability too.
Yeah, Mark Mahutovic, I think is how you say his name, from Slovenia, 18 years old. He certainly looks like a great prospect. Was the second best scorer at the U18 FIBA World Championships last summer. I mean, part of this really good, what looks like a really promising group of young European talents. So that will be fun to see how he does. Also, he's a freshman. He'll be a freshman, a true freshman. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But this kind of what I want to get to is just how crazy the portal feels even this year. I feel like we say it every year though. But over half of all college basketball players, Division I, are in the portal.
That's crazy.
So in some ways, like, you know, I always think, like, you know, it's good to have maybe a good 4 or 5 star prospect. You know, maybe I'm blanking on his name now, but the point guard that decommitted from UNC, played with Kyan in Brooklyn. I'll get his name in a minute, but like, you know, I see the post about him. I'm like, yo, that would be a good addition. You know, he could maybe lead the team. But you know, I'm not. You have to want these the big transfers, the big options in the portal, because they're the ones that are going to make you better. And I think what's really interesting to see, just the way college basketball has developed, is like Coach Calipari said a couple months ago, these guys aren't recruiting freshmen.
Right. No, they're not. No, because it's hurting high school players. The portal is hurting high school players because everyone's playing 5 years, it seems like, at least, and they're transferring schools every single year, chasing the bag, chasing the money. And so when that happens and there's even more and more eligibility that's going on, I mean, it hurts the high school player, because why would I want an 18-year-old who I've just seen in his high school local gym when I can see a guy that has played in the G League, Nick? I mean, it's crazy. That's the ridiculousness that's going on right now. That's the decision that coaches are making, which is obviously you're going to go with the more experienced player because you don't really need to see his potential, because you're only going to have him for 1 year anyways.
And that's the question that's now been brought up. Is it really amateur basketball anymore?
No.
And that was brought up throughout March Madness, throughout the coverage. And I thought it was really interesting that was such a big talking point, even amongst all the TNT and TBS folks. You know, it's fascinating to see how much the narrative is really being pushed. And I think a lot of pressure is now being put on the NCAA to really be like, hey, we got to make this change. Of course, the executive order that was signed last week, that also will play a huge factor into what happens next. You know, schools don't want to lose their funding, but at the same time, you know, like I'm hopeful that for the better of college athletics, that a situation where you're only allowed to transfer once, and if you transfer again, you'll have to sit out a year. You can transfer if your coach is fired, and you can transfer after you play for 4 years, or like you transfer for your grad year. I think that's fine. I think that's enough of a leeway. That's enough of a balancing act where everyone kind of gets what they want. Players can still transfer and chase the money of NIL, but and coaches still have opportunities to recruit, but they will have a bit of loyalty. So we'll see what happens, but I don't know. It's still such a complicated issue, you know.
And even with Nate Kings, I mean, this guy, he wants. That'd be a player that Syracuse fans would want to get back if his waiver goes through. He applied for a waiver for the NCAA for an extra year of eligibility. He's already been in school for 5 years. I mean, it gets to a certain point where, why? What is the purpose of this waiver? It doesn't really make any sense.
Right.
Well, let's just go back to the old days and, we play 4 years because that's how many years you're in college. That's how many years it takes you to graduate. And that's what college sports is. I saw this thing the other day where it's like they're trying to move forward to 5 years of eligibility. Why?
Yeah.
It's college. Unless I'm going to start going to college for 5 years now, it really doesn't make any sense to me, unless I'm just missing something.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think a lot of it we'll have to see what happens, especially with waivers like that from Nate Kings, because he's obviously not the only one. I think in a lot of ways as well, like the NCAA has to be strict about these things, and we've seen in the past they haven't, and you know that's why we have this free for all of guys on that are 25 years old playing. I just saw Chance Westry is entering the portal from UAB. The guy's 23 years old and has 2 years of eligibility.
Right.
That should not happen.
It's ridiculous.
Like there's a fundamental issue with so-called amateur basketball. I don't think it is amateur basketball. It's definitely professional, because these guys are getting paid a lot of money. You know, Donnie Freeman's going to get $2-3 million from Kentucky, more than likely. So, and that to me shows that that's not amateur. That's not an amateur standing. That's not amateur sports. That's professional. You're getting paid to play. So I think in a lot of ways, I mean, it is a bit of beating a dead horse, but at the same time, you know, Syracuse wasn't going to pay Donnie Freeman that money. He will find that money somewhere else, and that's just the nature of the beast.
I think it's just I say it time and time again when we bring up this topic, but I think it's just gone so far out of control that the NCAA really needs to put in some restrictions, because this was for name, image, and likeness. This was for Donnie Freeman to appear in the Harry's commercial.
Yeah,
right?
no, exactly.
Right? I mean,
right?
this isn't for him to get paid $2 million to just play basketball, because that's pay for play. We always heard, NIL is not pay for play. It is pay for play. That's the whole thing that's happening right now, because he doesn't even have to do any brand endorsements, commercials, anything like that. He's just getting paid to play the game, which is fine, I guess, if we're going to categorize that as what it is. But don't call it NIL, because that's not what it is.
Absolutely, and I think the another issue in there is that, like you said, they're not doing brand deals, but they are still getting they're still, especially the big guys, they're getting Nike contracts, they're getting New Balance contracts.
In addition to their money.
In addition to the money from the school.
Right.
Like, AJ DeBanza, the fact that he was even rumored to be staying in school was because of the amount of money that he was being offered. The rumors are that it's $10+ million from BYU alone, and then on top of probably a huge Nike deal with that, probably as well in the $5 to $10 million range, and that's not unrealistic.
No, and the cap just doesn't exist. The $20.5 million, that's not a real thing.
No,
because
it's not.
if you're giving one player $10 million, then that's coming from somewhere else. That's not coming out of your budget. That's coming from the boosters and everything that were supposed to be limited when those collectives were going to be limited. But it's just not happening. Teams are going way over it, and everyone knows it, and no one's doing anything about it.
I think we'll touch on Syracuse before we head to break, but I think what we've seen from a fundraising standpoint, I think it's been really positive for Syracuse. I think
there's been a lot of big numbers.
A lot of big numbers from the McNamara introduction, from his first press conference. Sucks that we're about to graduate. I feel like we're 4 years too early, but I think we're in a new time, a new era. The McNamara, don't even get me started on that. But it's just like, I like that we are seeing a bit more positivity finally, because the team that is being built, the coaching staff that are being put together, it's being done so quickly, but I think it's all with a purpose and with a reason of what GMAC wants to build. He knows the program, of course, inside and out. He knows the standard, and I think that's important.
And when you look at the players that have exited, Nick, I mean, obviously we know a new coach is going to come with a lot of roster turnover. Even if you don't have new coach, you're going to have a lot of roster turnover. But right now, the people that are transferring out, Aaron Womack, Tiafing Diawara, Tyler Betsy, Nate George, Luke Fennell, Donnie Freeman, and Akira Soiree. Do any of those guys, is that surprising to you?
No, I don't think so. The one that maybe could be surprising is Nate George, just because the whole reason for him transferring is so that he could be closer to home. He's another guy that I think in a different situation could really perform, because he's still an elite passer, I think, at heart. Just didn't have a great year for Syracuse. Tyler Betsy is one I think will be a huge miss. And I don't know if you saw what Dievendorf said on Orange Nation the other day. He said that Tyler Betsy was getting $600,000 to $700,000. That's a lot of money for a guy who was coming off the bench and playing 20 minutes at most per day. He was averaging less than 10 points a game. Great shooting percentage. And probably wasn't utilized the right way. But oh my goodness, he's getting $700,000 in NIL money.
It's ridiculous.
The recruitment certainly needed to improve from a Syracuse perspective. But oh my goodness, I think just the general management of the team really needed to change. That's one that I'm like, okay, well maybe we could have seen a little bit better, but Akira Soiree leaving, that doesn't move a needle. We knew Donnie was going to leave. I think that was a guarantee. The question more than anything was, is Sadiq White staying? Yeah. We have no official confirmation, but of course it's a little bit more encouraging on that front. Do you think he'll stay?
I think right now, my gut is telling me yes, because I think that kind of relationship between Kai and Anthony, Carmelo Anthony, trusting that core duo to continue between the Autry era and the McNamara era, especially when Carmelo Anthony was the teammate of Jerry McNamara. I know he's a fan of him. I would expect right now, if I was a betting man, I'd say yes, I think he is staying. And I think it's going to be interesting because you have those returners and you have those new transfers so far that are coming in. One thing that you haven't gotten yet is a true facilitator, true point guard, which the past 2 years Syracuse has tried to go out and get from the portal. You had Jaquan Carlos, which didn't really work out. Now you have Nate George, who honestly didn't really work out again, and I don't know if that was more of a system problem because their turnovers from the year before to the year they were at Syracuse completely shot through the roof. They were unrecognizable.
There's definitely, I think for those two in particular, like I think Jake Juan Carlos maybe wasn't up for it, but also the team around him wasn't strong enough. I think Nate George, I think, is a pure example that the system didn't work.
Yeah.
You know, I think you got to give him the benefit of the doubt because, you know, there was a reason why he was the number one point guard in the portal from the ACC. So I think I'll be very fascinated to see where he goes and what impact he has elsewhere. You know, it'll be fascinating to see if Sadiq will stay. I mean, I know we said a little earlier about how the social media stuff is him posting on his story, maybe a bit of a bargaining tool, being like, hey, like I want to like a public reminder saying, hey, I want to stay, but behind the scenes you got to pay me,
right.
Which, you know,
it's the reality.
Is the reality.
Everyone knows it.
Everyone does. All right, well, we still have lots to get to here on Newhouse Afternoon. Make sure to come join us during the break on qsportstalk.com. But we'll be right back here on ESPN Radio Syracuse 97.7, 101 FM.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Copy that.
All right.
Oof. Let's see if anything happened. It's a crazy picture. What the? They have Kevin Hart as the caddy is crazy.
You a Masters guy?
Absolutely. I will be seated Sunday night, I promise you. Well, Citrus Banquet is at 7 o'clock on Sunday.
Is that the time it is at?
That's when it starts, and that's when the Masters ends.
So what's your pick there?
I'll be late. Have you paid yet?
No. Have you?
No.
Yeah, I was considering if I wanted to go or not.
Really? I mean, I want to go just because it's the last one.
That's the whole reason.
Like, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like I've heard about like that. Like, there's no after party or anything yet either. So.
Well, no, I don't think so. Yeah.
Not yet, anyway. But.
Yeah, I'm not too stoked to be honest, but it'll be all right. Where's it at?
It's at Drumlin's.
All right.
So food will be all right.
I kind of liked last year. Is it a Newhouse in the Herg?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I just feel like the food just is it wasn't as good because I remember Drumlin's sophomore year.
Yeah.
So good. Like the food's gas, and also it's cheaper this year. It was $40 last year, which is gnarly. But it's weird though because you have to like manually put in $30. Like, what if I put 15? Are they gonna be like, no?
I don't know. Maybe they wouldn't give you a meal or something.
Yeah.
Well, the part I liked last year was that it was you can get as much as you want. I got like 3 plates.
True. Yeah.
And the Drumlins, I doubt that's going to be the case.
Yeah,
but
you're probably right about that.
That's what I was.
Absolutely.
Fan of, but I guess I'm just kind of a fatty in that room.
No, trust me, I am too. But by the way, look at this. This is insane. This is in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
It's like paid for Category 1, and Category 1 is meant to be like the best. Oh, jeez. It's meant to be like the best.
Yeah.
Category 1 should be here. As you can see, this is what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Category 1 was all of these, and they're I think they adjusted it so that like now like this is all like premium seats as well. So now Category 1 is like, as you can see, like they changed it. So it's
right.
like, see, like supporters tier, like they're charging me at $520 each, and they're reselling for like $2,000.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. I'm getting really nervous that that the tournament's gonna be a disaster.
The World Cup?
Yeah, I'm getting really worried about it.
Why do you think that?
Because it's 10 times. It will cost 10 times as much as it has ever before. The World Cup final for like general admission, like cheapest ticket, FIFA was selling it for $11,000.
Is that just because it's in the United States, or what's the deal with that?
I don't know. I think because it's in the U.S. and not Qatar or Russia for like the first time in a while, it's a very accessible World Cup. Well, in theory, it's an accessible World Cup. But I think it's ridiculous. It should not be costing this much to go to. The reason World Cup is supposed to be like FIFA make billions, like they make an enormous amount of money, but why is they were making billions before? Like, they didn't have to make it so crazy expensive. And that scares me, because as somebody who definitely wants to go to games, it's insane. And also the stadiums just aren't really built for it. Like,
well, they're not really playing at soccer stadiums.
No. Yeah, because, for example, the Kansas City Stadium, grass will be really nice. It'll be lovely. Copy that. Yeah, like the grass will be a beautiful It'll be a beautiful stadium, but obviously you have to drive there. No, like there's no way.
Oh,
there's
right.
no.
Yes.
How else do you get there?
Yeah, you'd have to drive.
Stars Today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
We're back here on Newhouse Afternoon. Nicholas Whaley and Riley Underwood with you. I want to talk a little bit more about men's hoops for just a quick second, because we've also had lots of different movements on the coaching side of things. Jamal Brunt has officially joined the staff today with more than 20 years of coaching experience. It was the associate head coach at Penn State for the last 3 years, so that he is a part of quite a number of additions to the coaching staff as of late. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how he's building out his staff. I was almost expecting kind of to get a repeat of the Siena coaching staff, but it seems like he's kind of meshing everything together, getting guys from all sorts of different different places, like Jamal Brunt, who was officially hired today. And I think these are good gets. If these are his guys, it's going to be a young coaching staff, which is going to be likely bode well on the recruiting trail. And I like the addition so far, Nick.
Yeah, I think you also had the addition of Ryan Daly, who came from VCU, which will certainly be. I think he obviously just came off a nice stint in the NCAA tournament. They were really, really great. VCU have always been a contender in recent years, but I think he'll be fun to see what he can bring to the table, and has widely been considered as one of those up and coming coaches for a long time. It'll be. And he also was the assistant coach at Albany for 2 years, from 22 to 24. So knows the upstate region very, very well. I think there's in terms of additions as well to the Syracuse team. I think we could see a few guys from Penn State make their way over to Syracuse 1 or 2.
That's what it seemed like. Yeah, that's what it seemed like people were talking about. You talked about the UNC decommitment earlier. I think there's a lot of buzz around Cade Mingo.
Yes.
From Penn State, which of course his younger brother is Dylan Mingo, who was committed to North Carolina under Hubert Davis. Obviously, that is no longer the case. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. And it's kind of a strategy also when you have these assistant coaches that probably recruited a lot of these guys on their former teams. If they decide to follow them, if they are wanting to enter the transfer portal, it could bode well. Penn State, obviously, not the most successul team at all.
No, absolutely not.
As of late, but still some good talent to get out from there.
I think as well, you look and see how Coach Autry has now gone to UVA to be an assistant there. How valuable recruiting is. There's one thing that you can't knock Coach Autry for is his recruitment. I mean, he absolutely is an elite recruiter, has been for a while, and I think he'll be a very valuable asset to the Cavaliers over the next few years, and I think, like you said, for GMAC, it's a blend of you couldn't just bring your whole Siena staff. Right. I think that would have been unrealistic. You needed to bring other D1 talent. You needed to bring NCAA tournament experience. And I said 2 weeks ago that GMAC needs to bring in somebody with a lot of experience, and I think the fact that they have now brought brought in Jamal Brunt with 20 plus years experience, that I think will have a huge impact on just having a bit more fluidity. And also I like that he's also keeps adding to this staff. His staff is getting stronger, and it's deeper as well, which I think is going to be very important when it comes to for someone like GMAC, who is still very fresh in the head coaching game.
Yeah, he's added 4 assistant coaches officially so far, 2 from Siena, 1 from Penn State, and 1 from Virginia Commonwealth. So it will be interesting to see how he builds out the rest of that coaching staff. I would honestly expect to see a few more Siena guys come over from the portal, especially Francis Folefek, who announced he was entering the portal over a week ago. I was honestly surprised we haven't heard anything about him lately, but I think especially with the NCAA tournament appearance, there's a lot of talent on that team, and they committed to Siena because they wanted to work with Jerry McNamara, and now that he's gone to bigger and better things, it'd be remiss not to think that some of those guys would come and join him.
Yeah, I think it'll be very. I'll be shocked if he didn't join Syracuse even in the next couple of days. You know, it's crazy how quickly things move, though.
Yes.
So I think. Oh wow, we just reported that Kentucky had a Zoom call with Donnie Freeman. So
a Zoom call.
Very very professional.
Is that real? Are you getting scammed there?
No, I'm not getting scammed.
All right.
Wait, let's see. Now, see, decent coverage from Big Blue Dylan on X. Definitely, and tweeting a lot about Donnie. So
he would never have an ulterior motive to.
Absolutely not.
No.
You know. No,
a Zoom call.
A Zoom call officially. You know, I'm honestly, I think, you know, we're gonna hear a lot of that the next couple of days as well. And you know, it's just the way it is. And I think Dylan Mingo will be very interesting to see what happens with him, the 5-star who decommitted from North Carolina. They say that Syracuse, Illinois, UConn, and Miami are those most interested and the ones pushing for him really aggressively. So we'll see if that ends up with anything, you know, because I think, you know, UConn as well are always searching for that big 5-star freshman, and we know what Dan Hurley can do. You know, it's such a crazy world of college basketball, and we have there we go, breaking news. Sadiq White is back officially, thanks to the crowd. They're being very, very helpful here at Newhouse. But there we go,
big news.
Sadiq White, he is back. He is back.
There you go. That is big news for Syracuse fans. No, it did not at all. I mean, if we just would have put our bets down like we were saying at the beginning of the show, could have made a little money, and I'm sure Sadiq White has made a little money for himself as well.
I'm sure he has.
He's back. Syracuse fans are happy with that. I mean, he's a guy that's really impressive. He can jump out of the gym. You saw his skills on display. I don't think he's reached his full potential at all. He's a really raw talent, but he's a big get back, and that's huge for Syracuse.
Yeah. If you're on Q Sports Talk, you can see on social media. He is back, and so that will be huge. Obviously, 5-star last year. I think got certainly more playing time towards the end of the season. I remember being in the Dome for the last preseason game. It was against Pace, and Sadiq really, when he came on in the second half, just showed his athleticism, and I was so sad that we didn't really get to see as much of it. Of course, it was against inferior opposition, but at the same time, he's a guy who really thrives on using his athleticism, and as he gets older, of course, he will also gain an even bigger physical presence down low. I think we'll see him. Maybe he could be. Could he play? I think he could maybe play at the 4, take Donnie's position. You know, I think, but he absolutely needs a good 7-footer next to him. So that's what's important.
I'd say so too. 6'9", 195. He can play the 4 really well. I think that's his true position. Probably play a little 3 as well. I don't see him shifting into that center spot, especially maybe at times, but not permanently. I mean, he's really good inside. His shooting struggled a little bit at the beginning, picked up throughout the end of the year. Started 11 of his 31 games, 6 points a game, which those stats don't necessarily jump out of the page at you. But when you watch him, his athleticism, that's what you see on the tape. That's what jumps out at you.
I think another option as well, JP Estrella, I think is also in the portal from Tennessee. He could be an interesting one to look at in the next few weeks as well. See if he chooses to come on board. You know, but I think the center position overall is the biggest question mark.
Yes.
More than anything for the Syracuse team, and it look he has been for the last 3-4 years even. So I think it'll be, and in a lot of ways, yeah, there's some okay options that I can think of at the top of my head in the portal for the centers, but at the same time, I think you need someone that is just going to be a big bruiser and is going to be immediately a top 3 center in the ACC to really compete.
And William Kyle, I mean, he did all he could. I mean, he battled his best out of pretty much everyone on the Orange this past season. He really impressed me. He's obviously done out of eligibility. Shocking. I didn't know you could run out of eligibility.
Can you believe it?
But he did. But I think replacing him will be tough. But he was an undersized center. He was only 6'9". If you get a big 7-footer down there, I think that would really complement Sadiq White and Kyan Anthony, Gavin Doty. I mean, already this is sounding like a pretty good starting lineup. Even if you just have the guys that are on the roster right now, you don't even know who's on the other half of the roster.
Yeah, we'll see if Goodrick can really be that center, that go-to center. I think he's a little bit undersized and just obviously not built. Not built to where you want them to be just yet, but he did average 8 rebounds a game, so I think that could be very interesting to see. But is there somebody that for you that you would love to see play for Syracuse that is in the portal right now that would be, that you think would be a good addition?
I hate to play this game because I don't know if there's anyone in particular, and it's so hard to know who's going where so early, and so I don't have a specific player, but I do have a wish list of types of players that I would like to see Jerry McNamara fulfill. You get Sadiq White back, so that's huge. I think, as you touched on, I think you would like to add another big-time center, a bruiser down low that can really just grab those rebounds and bruise, so Sadiq White and other guys don't necessarily have to. I think the 5 and the 1, those are your 2 biggest positions that you have to go out and get. I'd like to see him go out and get a point guard that can really move the ball, that can shoot the ball well. If there's a point guard alongside Gavin Doty in that backcourt that can really play, that can really ball, I think that'd be really dangerous, because Syracuse is at times just really not had an offensive identity these past few seasons, and I don't think that's necessarily been the fault of the point guards on the Orange. I think that's primarily coaching. That there was no schemes or plays or anything. I think that if you have a good shooting point guard to go along with Doty who can shoot the rock as well, that could really spread the floor. And I think your center position and your point guard position, those are your 2 biggest guys. Do you have a guy that you really want to see?
I think the one player I think selfishly that I'd like to see just play for Syracuse, just because he was such a monster all year, was Duke Harris from Wake Forest. I think he's a little bit unrealistic because I think he's going to demand a lot of money more than anything. I think it was one of the top scorers in the ACC. But it's like, the center class is just a little bit weak more than anything. If you want to go and get Mustafa Diem from Cincinnati, I think that wouldn't be too bad. 7'2" sophomore, had 21 points, 10 boards. Had averaged 13 points per game, 7 rebounds per game. Wouldn't be too bad of an addition. Has Big 12 experience.
Right?
I mean, be massive. I think that would be almost a missing piece. Maybe I think we. Do you think though that Kyan would start at the 2 at this current rate, or do you think he still will be a bench guy?
I think right now they barely have enough players to fill out the starting 5. So right now I'd say he is.
Right now, yes.
But as for next season, it just depends on his off-season development. I think he can be, because he kind of was playing that 6-man role for a while for Syracuse. I think he definitely can be in the starting lineup, and I would not be surprised at all if he was.
Yeah. Do you think Sadiq will start then now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's a guarantee.
Yeah.
And you also have to ask, though, when you're going to get these portal guys, it's not just, can I go out and recruit them and pitch them to come to Syracuse? Is there room in the budget for some more big-time players? Because how much of the budget did Sadiq White just take out when he committed back to Syracuse? That's something you have to figure out, because if you don't have a lot of high-value guys, which right now Syracuse, I'd say, does, especially with Anthony and White returning, then you could go out and get a really big player because you have a lot of money left over. It just depends. I mean, that's the whole reality of college basketball now. Now you have to budget for your roster. It's not just the scholarship spots.
Yeah, I think it's just it's so crazy to see how much, all these big programs, they have GMs now, which is just so crazy to me to think that a college basketball team needs a GM, but it's a reality of the situation that you need someone who can manage all of that stuff.
Exactly.
So, I think Sadiq White will be a huge addition. And like you said, I think it's a really appealing project now. You got your two really best freshmen from last year back, and of course, not only one of them is Kyan Anthony, who of course I think still has a really high ceiling, not just because of his dad's influence. We saw sparks of Kyan being a really good shooter last year, and I think if he gets more game time more consistently, I think he can really show a lot of college basketball who he really is and have a big sophomore year. But then getting that returning your big 5-star recruit from last year, will be massive as well. And I think it's a big year for Sadiq White in particular. I think he knows he needs to be in a place where he's playing regular minutes, getting at least 12 to 15 points per game minimum, and just being dominant down low. And because of course, as a 5-star, your goal is always to go to the league to get that pro attention. I mean, we didn't even think about Sadiq quite being a pro player last year. I think this could be a really good stepping stone for him. Show he has good defense as well. I think that'll be important as well. Get his 3-point shooting up as well.
Big news on campus, man.
Really big news. It's always something. Yeah, Sadiq White is back. Sadiq White is back, ladies and gentlemen. Massive news here on Newhouse Afternoon. Still more to come. We'll talk women's basketball as well, because they've had a few subtractions as well, which will be really interesting to see how that plays out. A few surprises. Still no additions on the women's basketball front, but we'll talk about a few potentials right after this break here on ESPN Radio Syracuse 97.7 101 FM. We'll be right back.
This is
I don't know why I'm so tired today. It's like I didn't even wake up that early. I didn't know you were going to be on the show on Saturday.
I didn't either until I found out on Monday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy. Because Isabel texted me, was like, "Oh, it's going to be Gino and Hudson."
Yeah.
Because I was curious, and so I guess Gino can't do it.
I guess not.
Crazy.
You got a big halftime hit coming up?
Yeah. Very.
Is that an
exciting.
interview?
Yeah, we'll pre-tape it at I think 10 or something.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, it'll be really cool. It's all preset questions though.
Oh, he had to approve them.
Yeah.
So,
I have them pulled up here somewhere. Yeah. They're going over it right now. That's so funny. It's Tomsky and Isabel on this. Yeah. I mean, I would think that. All right, we're back here on Newhouse Afternoon. Riley Underwood and Nicholas Whaley with you. Riley, I want to ask you though, because certainly it's obviously the biggest sporting event going on anywhere. You big Masters guy. You'll be watching on Sunday.
I'm not a huge Masters guy, Nick, and I know that's painful for you to hear because you're a huge Masters guy.
Absolutely.
But it's just, I don't know. It's slow. I get the allure. It's pretty, the greens and everything. But
do you think they paint the grass?
Do they paint the grass? Is that a thing?
That's a rumor. Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. But I mean, would that change the color much? They paint it, just go over with the green coat.
They need it to be bright, especially the greens. They got to be a certain color so that they match the azaleas.
So do you believe that?
Possibly.
And are they piping in that noise from the birds?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Do you think that they are?
I think a little.
I think a little bit, too.
Plus, they got a mic up there just in one of the
just
nests.
in the trees.
Because there's no way. I mean, some of those birds are like chirping, overwhelming the commentators.
I know.
I can't hear them. The birds are going crazy.
Yeah, no, I love any sporting event that has like history and a lore like that. You know, March Madness, I think, is the reason why March Madness is so special.
March Madness is exciting, man.
But
March
it is
Madness is exciting.
Of course it is, but
is the Masters really exciting? That's a genuine question.
Were you watching last year?
I did watch last year.
Watch Rory McIlroy finally win the Grand Slam. That was pretty exciting.
It was
playoff
exciting
as well.
At the end.
But you could make that argument for any sport.
All right, that's a good point. You got me on that one.
Honest, the national championship was kind of boring up until the end. Yeah, arguably. You know?
I think in that national championship game, Dan Hurley was probably the better coach. I think.
Ooh.
That's a hot take.
Ooh.
Maybe I shouldn't have wasted my hot take.
You should have wasted your hot take. Ooh.
But I think Michigan was just so much better. Yeah, I think they were an unbelievable team, especially at the rim. I mean, they were just swat shots left and right. They couldn't get anything going inside.
Yeah. Well, I wonder where Yaxel will go for.
That's a good question.
Where he'll go get drafted. Apparently, they said the Miami Heat.
I could see that. He's a Heat guy.
He would fit perfectly. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, you know. But he's his third year, maybe. He's kind of.
Yeah, I think he's
old. He's old.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. That's another factor in this whole transfer portal stuff. Like, how does that affect the draft? Because obviously the top 4 or 5 are going to be freshmen, but like once you get into the 10s and the 15s, like, are those guys going to be 3-4 year college players? Like, realistically, yes, because they're the ones who are playing at the top, and they're the ones that actually get the most attention.
Right.
The freshmen aren't getting. If the freshmen aren't playing for Duke or playing for Michigan or playing for UConn, I mean, I think NBA teams are going to have their hands forced more than anything. This upcoming draft will be very interesting.
Devonta's still the number 1 pick?
Yeah, I think so.
Got to.
I think Peterson drops. I wouldn't be surprised.
How far?
I think he'll drop out of top 3.
I think so. Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd take Acuff.
4 or 5.
I'd take Acuff over him.
I would too.
So I think that'll be interesting. But, you know, we'll touch on, maybe we'll talk a little bit more NBA later, but because obviously it'll be very important, we got to talk a little bit Syracuse women's hoops, because I think they deserve a lot of flowers. You know, they had a great season. It obviously didn't end the way that they would have wanted against UConn, but, you know, I think there were a few surprises when it comes to those that are leaving now, and I think Coach Felicia Leggett-Jack, I think, has a lot more work to do than she expected. I mean, Sophie Burrows hitting the portal, that was a big surprise.
That's huge. I mean, she's been an Orange staple these past few years, and then entering the transfer portal, I think that was a huge surprise. They'll be glad to have Uche Izoje back, hopefully next year, which is obviously, she was the star freshman, 21 years old, by the way, freshman, but still the best, one of the best freshmen in the country in women's basketball. She completely commanded the paint, led the team in scoring. Right now, the other players staying, Olivia Schmidt, Angelica Velez, and Kira Scott, right now are the players that are slated to return at the moment. Sophie Burrows, that was the biggest transfer portal loss.
Has to be, right?
It's a head scratcher, right? Because what's the next step there? Is it money there? Is it a bigger role?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe my thinking is that Coach Jack went to Burrows and was like, "Look, I don't know if you're going to be starting next year."
Okay.
It had to have been, because otherwise, in my mind, why would she leave? She was the top returner this year, like, had a decent enough year. There was some moments in the season where she lost her groove, but she definitely found it towards the end. You know, shot nearly 40% from 3, career high from the field of 41%. You know, I would have been shocked if she left because she wanted to get paid somewhere. You know, I think reality is, like, there are programs now that can. The South Carolinas of the world, the UConns of the world, the LSUs of the world, they have a little bit more money to spend. I'm sure pretty much every SEC team can probably pay their players in women's basketball more than others anyway. But, you know, at the same time, I'm shocked that, you know, especially that Izoje, like, it was immediate that she was staying,
right,
right away. You know, did she get paid? I don't know. Maybe she got a little bit more of an incentive than others, but I think that's more because if she entered the portal, she would have been the hottest commodity, right, in all of women's hoops. So I think Sophie Burrows entering the portal, is she going to command is she going to command a fee of any kind? I don't know.
That's what no one knows. You don't know until you're in there. Other players in the portal besides Burrows for Syracuse, Jasmine Cooper gone, Aurora Almone, Camden Nelson, Maddie Potts, Justice Fitzgerald, and Shai Hawkins.
Yeah.
Hawkins has been a staple the past few years for Syracuse at that wing position. Any of those other players surprise you? I know there was a successful year for Syracuse. You almost expect some of those players to stay.
I was surprised that Potts is leaving.
Okay.
I think she would have. I think if Burrows was leaving, or no matter what, I thought Potts would then fill her role. What was interesting is that once Burrows left, just an hour later, Potts entered the portal.
Right.
So was that conjoined? Obviously, the Aussie connection there, that could have played a factor. I think Potts was because of the injuries to Dominic Darius, it really. Obviously she got pushed up a position. She had to go into the starting lineup. She was a huge addition from 3-point range off the bench, and it'll be very interesting to see what Syracuse do to replace Potts, because now you don't just need 3-point shooting in the starting five. You need 3-point shooting on the bench. Coach Jack is going to need to recruit at least three 3-point shooters to the Syracuse team, because that will be the difference of once again falling to below par in the ACC to being a top 6 team again. And I think Coach Jack can do that, but I think even she would be surprised that there was so much movement. Yeah,
I mean, they pretty much did lose all of their shooters. A lot of movement, especially, it's usually more movement on the men's side, but now the women's side seems to be picking up too. In the portal, Audie Crooks, the big boulder down low from Iowa State, she entered the portal, who Syracuse fans saw in the first round of the NCAA tournament when the Orange came out on top. That big battle between Izoje and Crooks down low. She's been the big headliner for this transfer portal class. Is there any positions? I mean, I know right now only 4 players are staying right now from the last roster. Dominic Darius is actually has a waiver into the NCAA for a 7th year of eligibility. I can't see that passing
through. Right?
You wouldn't think so, but you got to try, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Layla Feely also won't return, right? So she's graduating. It'll be it'll be very interesting to see, because now I think even more than last year, and after last season, Coach FLJ really had to rework that roster, had to be aggressive in her recruitment, and that's why I think Darius and Feely were great additions. They obviously were. Izoje was obviously an even could be a generational addition if Syracuse play it right, but this is where we have this fundamental question mark of what will happen, because we saw what happened when Syracuse women's hoops lost their best player. They kind of fell into, they had to have a gap year and realized they had to figure things out. Sometimes maybe the right players won't come, but I think Coach Jack has enough of an appeal and as such a strong recruiter that I think it'll be all right. And it was still so early on.
Do you have your hot take ready, Nick? Is it
me?
Week?
I thought it was, because was it you last week?
Well, I gave one last week.
You gave one last week, but I wasn't here. You didn't make Adam do it.
No, he did one too. We both did it.
You both did one?
He misunderstood the whole thing.
He doesn't get it.
He didn't get it.
No, he doesn't get it. Amateur.
Get it. So I think it's only fair that you missed last week.
Fine.
Doing who knows what.
Fine.
So I think it's time.
You know what?
Get it locked and loaded.
Yeah. Let's load it up.
All right.
Let's load it up. All right. We'll have my hot take will be coming up next here on ESPN Radio Syracuse Newhouse Afternoon. We're not done just yet. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have no idea. Oh gosh. Okay. Start thinking. Because my one before was that Syracuse would make the Sweet 16. I think next year. I can't do another basketball one.
You could do a lacrosse one.
True.
Do a football one.
Ooh.
Orange will beat blue in the spring game.
I thought the spring game was meant to be like last week.
No.
Is this week?
Yeah,
Oh, interesting.
Triple header in the Dome.
Oh,
Would not be want to be working there all day. Women's lacrosse and men's lacrosse in the spring game.
The ACC crew is not going to be very happy. PCR1 is not going to be happy.
Did you see what Fran was doing in Shine earlier?
I did.
Free Duncan?
Couldn't believe I missed it.
I didn't get the notification. He didn't text me. Fran.
Yeah, what?
Come on, coach.
Come on.
Didn't reach out.
Unbelievable.
But yeah, trying to get the hype up for the spring game. So
yeah, a total of maybe 2,000 people. You think maybe more than that?
At the spring game?
Yeah.
I think there'll be more.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really want. I think I'm excited if I do take that job. Like, I'll definitely be here for the first GMAC game.
Oh yeah,
100%. I think that'll be electric. Well, I think we'll get 25,000 people in the Dome again regularly.
It seems like how it's going right now. It's possible.
I'd love to see the season ticket numbers.
Yeah.
How it's all going. Oh man. The Newhouse Student Awards Ceremony. You think I got an award?
I don't think so. I don't think I got one either.
What the? Ridiculous.
If you're receiving an award, you'll receive an
would.
invitation to the ceremony. So no, I didn't get one.
We're cooked.
No,
we're cooked, Jack. We're cooked. Yeah, it's a shame. Unbelievable. We didn't get any awards.
Truly,
if you like,
doesn't know what they're talking about.
If you think that Riley and I should get an award, make sure to donate.
Yes, give us
to the
bits.
chat. Give us some bits. Make sure to give some subs.
Leave some comments. We always appreciate the comments.
Yeah, the comments are, that's free.
The commenting is free.
If you want to use your Prime sub as well. Everyone has Amazon Prime.
I don't have Amazon Prime.
What do you mean you don't have Amazon Prime?
I don't have Amazon.
You don't have Prime.
I don't have Amazon Prime. No.
How do you not have Prime?
I don't know. What do I need it for?
Your family doesn't have Prime either.
Well,
really?
I don't need it.
Wow.
I'm never in a dire situation usually where I need a package right that day.
I have you know what's crazy? I have the Amazon Prime credit card.
The credit card? What's the credit card do?
I get 6% back on everything I buy from Amazon.
Do you purchase a lot from Amazon?
Probably more than I should.
Yeah, it seems like.
Well, 'cause I get all my household goods from Amazon.
Household goods?
Like toilet paper, dish soap.
You don't go to the store?
No.
Okay.
Paper towels.
Yeah.
I'm lazy. Yeah. I don't have time to go. I don't have time to go to Target. Target's 15 minutes away. You don't even have a car.
I know. Does it always come the same day then?
No, probably the next day.
Okay.
So you plan ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be all right. It's crazy how efficient it is, to be honest.
What did that have to do with anything? What did the Prime have to do with anything?
Because we said Twitch Prime.
Oh.
Prime sub.
Right. Like our tags down here. English, football, comedy, fun, live, Syracuse basketball, sports. IRL. Chatty. Yes, very chatty.
Yeah, IRL. We don't even have basketball on here. That's actually crazy. That's so funny. Couldn't believe that.
Boom, boom, Mex, taqueria. You ever had that?
I haven't, but I'd love some tacos right now. Oof. Burritos would be good too.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Wrapping up shop here on Newhouse Afternoon. Nicholas Whaley and Riley Underwood with you. So I've been roped into the hot take this week.
Yep.
So I've had to think about it.
All right.
We didn't talk about lacrosse today.
No, we didn't.
But, obviously the regular season is wrapping up. Just 3 games to go. Men's lacrosse, just coming off of a defeat to UNC. It was 2-3. UNC now the number 1 team. And Syracuse won't make it to Memorial Day weekend.
Ooh.
They won't make it.
They won't make it.
I've seen enough. UNC looks like the best team in the country, and Syracuse got walloped against the Tar Heels.
So nothing can change. What can change your mind here? I mean, they're playing a good Virginia squad on Saturday.
Notre Dame will beat if they beat Notre Dame, I will think that they can do it.
Okay.
I think they'll at least make
Notre
it to the
Dame
final.
carries more weight to you than Virginia.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because UVA is a decent team, but they beat a Duke team that Syracuse already beat. You know, I think if Syracuse lose to UVA, then wrap up shop. It's over.
All right.
You know, but I think more than anything, it's important that Notre Dame game, last game of the year, that game will be huge in terms of not just the repercussions for the NCAA tournament for seeding, but the ACC tournament as well, because Syracuse, if for whatever reason they do lose to UVA, Syracuse has to beat Notre Dame to make the tournament.
Yeah.
So that will be very important, you know, but I'm very concerned because Syracuse, the fact that Jimmy McCool got pulled in the third quarter because of how poor he was is a huge deal to me. That was the biggest story of the weekend, I thought, from Syracuse lacrosse perspective. You know, and he maybe isn't good enough. Does the backup Michael Ippoliti come in and play the rest of the way? I could see that happening. I totally could see that happening.
So what's happening on Saturday? What's the score gonna be?
Syracuse will beat UVA. I don't think that won't be a problem. It'll be close. I think it'll be maybe 14-12 Syracuse. They'll beat Colgate the following weekend, but then Notre Dame will be interesting. I don't want to predict that just yet because I think there's still a lot of lacrosse to play. Notre Dame obviously has 2 games before that as well, so it'll be interesting to see. You know, I want lacrosse to win. I want them to win a national championship, but I don't know. The coaching has been interesting to me.
All right, Syracuse football spring game on Saturday. Who you got, orange or blue?
Oh, it's always Team Blue.
Okay.
It's always Team Blue.
I need to pull out. I don't know. I think
you don't even know who's on what team.
No, you don't.
So like, it doesn't even matter.
I'm going with Team Blue too, though. I think we both got to go Team Blue all the way.
Come on. Blue is the color.
All right.
Always. All right, that'll wrap things up here on ESPN Radio Syracuse. For Newhouse Afternoon, Riley Underwood, Nicholas Whaley will sign off. Thank you so much for tuning in for the last hour. It was fun, but we'll see you next week.
This is our